From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Friday, March 4th. We're going to have some warmer air moving into Indiana today to finish the work week. We'll have a mostly sunny day with temperatures getting to the 40s to mid-50s. And a beautiful weekend is in store with temperatures possibly reaching 70 for your Saturday. And we do have breaking news out of Ukraine. A nuclear power plant fire that stoked worldwide worry is out. Shelling by Russian forces ignited the fire. A Ukrainian state nuclear company announced 3 Ukrainian troops died, 2 more were wounded. Russian forces took control of the site after Ukrainian fighters put that fire out. The United Nations atomic watchdog just said that no radioactive material was released. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is now urging European leaders to wake up before the war becomes a nuclear disaster.
There are 15 nuclear reactors in Ukraine. If one of them blows, that's the end for everyone. That's the end of Europe. All of Europe will have to evacuate. Immediate action must be taken to stop the Russian army. Don't allow the death of Europe. Stop this potential atomic catastrophe.
This is the second time in a week that concerns about a nuclear accident or a release of radiation materialized. Russia took control of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant site last week. Ukrainian leaders say a second round of talks with Russia did not deliver needed results. The delegations did agree to create corridors for relief supplies and civilians to pass through as they leave their home country.
On my mind, поехал back to stay in Ukraine, and this is terrible. I have all on my life, all. I have many countries. This is all.
All you have, your dog and your backpack.
Yes.
The United Nations predicts 4 million people may leave. One man is trying to bring a sense of peace to a busy border checkpoint along Ukraine's border with Poland. He was playing the piano as refugees arrive, which is part of what you just heard. And Ukrainians fleeing to the United States can stay here for at least the next year and a half. The Biden administration is implementing the temporary protected status, which allows refugees to stay even after their temporary visas expire. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas announced the move on Wednesday. According to the Migration Policy Institute, about 30,000 Ukrainians on U.S. visas could benefit from this. Eli Lilly and Company is showing support for its workers in Ukraine. The top of its downtown Indianapolis headquarters was lit like the Ukrainian flag last night. Lilly also lit its fountain blue and yellow. Lilly says its colleagues in Ukraine are accounted for and safe. And more members of Congress are pressing the Biden administration to dramatically cut America's use of Russian oil. A bill that would halt Russian oil imports through a national emergency now has solid Republican support, and several Democrats back it too. The White House has said it does not want to cut the global supply of energy, but that all options are on the table. Right now, the U.S. gets 7% of its oil from Russia. The rest comes from other countries, domestic wells, and America's oil reserves. President Biden announced on Tuesday that he's releasing 30 million barrels from the reserve to help ease gas prices and prevent people from feeling more pain at the pumps. Gas Buddy puts the current Indiana average at $3.80 a gallon. That's up 10 cents from yesterday and up 43 cents from a week ago. Indianapolis is paying more than the state average at $3.83. And the statewide public health emergency orders are about to end almost 2 years to the day since they started. Governor Holcomb signed an executive order last night that will allow the emergency order to expire tomorrow. He also signed House Bill 1001. It continues a few provisions that the governor said were necessary in order for him to sign off on the end of the emergency order. The bill continues federal funding for Medicaid, COVID vaccinations for children 5 to 11 years old, and additional money for food assistance to continue. It also allows the state to withdraw from enhanced SNAP benefits after April 15th. This was not a stipulation by the governor. Democrats also had objected to cutting off those benefits. Republicans argued that the extra money is no longer needed with unemployment levels so low.
We're nearing a time where we can move back to a more normal formula. This is in addition to, not less than previous. So we're moving back to that as we transition from pandemic to endemic back to those more normal times.
This comes as lawmakers in D.C. try to do the same thing on the federal level. Senators passed a resolution last night to end the federal state of emergency 48-47. Indiana Republican Senator Mike Braun has called on the president and the nation's governors to give up powers granted to them under emergency declarations. And today, mask mandates end at all Indiana University campuses. School leaders cite the drop in COVID cases across the state and the expiration of the state's emergency order. Masks will no longer be required in classrooms, dining halls, athletic venues, and most other buildings. They are still required in healthcare settings and some labs. And a northern Indiana teacher is now in custody and facing felony charges for hitting a student. Police arrested 61-year-old Michael Hasinski yesterday. I-Team8 first reported the case at Elkhart's Jimtown High School earlier this week. Security cameras caught it happening. Police say it shows Hasinski chasing after a student, grabbing his backpack, and slamming him hard enough to knock the student into the wall. Hasinski asked for early retirement last Friday, the same day the surveillance video was released. He's now facing a preliminary charge of battery. In Indiana, the controversial education bill is likely dead, but parts of it may move forward in other ways. Lawmakers sought to place broad restrictions on teaching about racism and political topics with House Bill 1134. State House leaders say there is too much disagreement on the language of the bill. House Speaker Todd Houston says his chamber liked the original version and likely will not accept anything that's less than what the Senate is comfortable with. One possibility is the bill is broken up and passed through other bills that are likely to pass. Senate Pro Tem President Roderick Bray says that won't happen necessarily.
No, not the intention to do that at all. No. You'll see maybe a piece or so, but we're not going to parse this bill up and put it all over the place to try and pass it. That is not our intention in any way whatsoever.
Lawmakers do have until March 14th to bring portions of the bill's language back. Avon police say it could be weeks before we learn what led to a crash involving a bus that sent 2 teenagers to the hospital. The wreck happened Wednesday afternoon on Dan Jones Road near Avon High School. As of yesterday evening, police say the 18-year-old driver of the car that hit the bus was in very critical condition at Eskenazi. The 16-year-old passenger had injuries that are less severe. Both are students at Plainfield High School. We're also told students on the bus only had minor injuries. IMPD says a police officer shot in the line of duty may never return to a normal life. IMPD says he underwent a second surgery since being shot in the throat Sunday night. It significantly damaged his voice box and Adam's apple. That surgery gave him a stable way of breathing, but he is still unable to talk or eat. Officers say the road to recovery is going to be a long one. The president of the Fraternal Order of Police met with the officer earlier this week.
Has been in good spirits. I was able to personally meet with him and his family this past Tuesday on March the 1st. And I can assure you our IMPD officer is remaining steadfast in standing his post and fighting for his recovery.
Snyder says the family appreciates all the prayer, support, and encouragement from the community. IMPD says the officer's name should be released this afternoon. Police say the 31-year-old Malik Hill was behind the shooting. He was also shot and remains at Eskenazi Hospital. A new business is taking a page from Airbnb's playbook. It's called Sniff Spot. It allows you to rent out your backyard for pet owners to bring their dogs to play around. People can rent out the yards from $4 to $25 an hour. One host says a lot of people who live in apartments use the service, especially if their dogs don't do well with others at dog parks. The business offers services in cities all across the country, including Indianapolis. Grand Park is up for sale. The city of Westfield wants a private operator to take it over. The youth sports complex now stretches across 400 acres. It also hosts Colts training camp. City Council member Scott Willis says Grand Park has brought in a lot of money for the city since it was built in 2014, but not enough to pay off its debt.
Private industry does a much better job of running businesses than the government. And if the city can get the right price that pays off the debt for Grand Park, and puts money in our coffers to invest in infrastructure, I think that's a wonderful thing.
Businesses interested in buying Grand Park must submit proposals by June 22nd. A nonprofit drug maker is working to make and sell low-cost insulin. Civica RX is aiming for a price at or below $30 per vial. The versions currently available from major manufacturers retail for roughly $300 a vial. The Gary and Mary West Foundation co-founded Civica RX, which also has backing from a group of other philanthropies, hospitals, and insurance companies. Civica is aiming to make the low-cost insulin available as early as 2024 if it gets approval. And finally, former Colts punter Pat McAfee is taking his talents back to the ring. McAfee hosted WWE Commissioner Vince McMahon on his podcast yesterday. It was McMahon's first live interview in 15 years. During this show, McMahon gave McAfee the opportunity to live out a dream.
You're a part of the team, big time, and people in the organization really enjoy you, and fans all over the world really enjoy you being you, And you can't find anyone, I can't imagine back in the day, Bob Costas standing up on a desk and dancing. Okay, but you're you, and that's why it works, And so with that, it's like I'd like to offer you an opportunity to actually wrestle at WrestleMania.
Oh, it'd be a dream, boss.
McAfee's opponent for WrestleMania hasn't been announced yet. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.